My name is Dr. Ajay, Associate Professor, Department of ECE, IRA Engineering College, Hyderabad. Today we are going to discuss the topic microstrip antennas. So today's topic is microstrip antennas from the course Antennas, Waves and Propagation. So let us start our session today. So as we already know that there are many different frequency ranges. Uh, there are some fixed frequency ranges, so which can be divided as below, as shown on the display. That is a very low frequency, medium frequency, high frequency, very high frequency, ultra high frequency, super high frequency, and extremely high frequency. So very low frequency is it can be abbreviated as VLF. Low frequency it can be abbreviated as low frequency LF. The medium frequency it is MF. High frequency it is HF. Very high frequency it is designated as VHF. UHF means ultra high frequency. So all these abbreviations have a set of frequencies fixed. These are known as a fixed frequency ranges for this VLF. Right. So all the antennas which have been discussed earlier comes under all these ranges only. Right. So here 30 to 300 megahertz comes. It is VHF range. That is a very high frequency range. And if we discuss about high frequency, what is the high frequency? Its range is 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. So if someone says the antenna works under a UHF range, so what is the UHF range? Ultra high frequency range is 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. And this is the corresponding wavelength of the frequency range. That is 3 kilohertz to 330 kilohertz means the wavelength is taken as 100 kilometers to 10 kilometers. Right? So like this, there are different frequency ranges where the antennas are designed depending upon this particular frequency range only. All the antennas operate under any of these frequency ranges only. Any of these frequency ranges only. So today we are going to discuss about the microstrip antenna. Microstrip antenna. So these microstrip antennas are low profile antennas. So these microstrip antennas are said to be low profile antennas. So the low profile antennas are nothing but a low size and weight will be less. The antennas which have the size is very small and the weight is very less, those type of antennas can be regarded as low profile antennas. So whichever the antennas which are having the less weight and the size of the dimensions of the antenna is very less, then it can be treated as a low profile antennas. So here a metal patch mounted at a ground level with a dielectric material in between constitutes a microstrip or a patch antenna. So basically a patch antenna size is very less. The patch antenna, we can also be the other name for the microstrip antenna is it is a patch antenna. Why? Because the microstrip it is made up of a patch. Under this match, under the patch there is a dielectric substrate medium, and under this dielectric there will be a ground plane. Right? So a metal patch mounted at a ground level with a dielectric material in between constitutes a microstrip or a patch antenna. It means that if you take this as a patch, this is a patch antenna. So this patch antenna is laid over a substrate. This is a substrate, epsilon r, let us assume this as epsilon r. And this epsilon r, it is laid over the ground plane. This is the ground plane. So all together we call it as a microstrip antenna. All together, this is a patch here. This is a patch. In between the patch and the ground plane, there is a dielectric substrate. So generally, the dielectric substrate which we use in most of the practical applications, we use is alumina, or we can also use epoxy. The dielectric substrate is epoxy. So another dielectric substrate is alumina. So these are the two different types of substrates we are going to use below the patch and the ground plane, between the patch and the ground plane. So depending upon our requirements, you can select any of these substrates. So if you want to use a high radiation efficiency, If you want to increase the radiation efficiency to a larger extent, you can use this epoxy. If you want the radiation efficiency to be very less, if our requirement is radiation efficiency to be very less, then you can use this alumina as a dielectric substrate between the ground plane and the patch. So depending upon our requirement for a particular application, you can decide what is the amount of substrate to be added between the patch and the ground plane. Between the patch and the ground plane. And these are very low size antennas having low radiation. Having low radiation. The radiation is very less. The radiation is very less here. So these are the low profile antennas. These are the basic features of the microstrip antenna. So these are low profile antennas having a less size and less weight. And basically microstrip is also can be treated as a patch. The most common features of any type of microstrip antenna, it may be of different shape, it may be of any shape, it may be like a rectangular shape, it may be like a square shape, it may be like a circular shape, it may be like hexagonal shape, it may be like a semicircular shape. So all these microstrip antennas will be having a four common features. The one common feature is, the first one is, it is every microstrip antenna will be having a patch. The second one is a dielectric substrate. A dielectric substrate will be having for any type of microstrip antenna. And the third one is a transmission line which we need to feed the patch. We need to give some supply to the patch antenna. And the fourth one is the ground plane. So these four are the primary requirements to design a microstrip antenna. That means the patch is mandatory, a dielectric substrate, a transmission line, a balanced transmission line to feed the patch, and also a ground plane. So whether the microstrip may be of any shape, we need to have all these things. All these four are the primary requirements to design a microstrip antenna. So it may be rectangular shape, it may be square shape also. So whatever may be the shape, every microstrip of any shape must be having these things: patch, dielectric, transmission line, and ground plane. So these are the different shapes of the microstrip antennas. So square shape, you can see on the display the square shape, the rectangular shape, the triangular shape, the pentagon shape, and also the elliptical shape. So these are the different types of microstrip antennas. And the most popular shapes which we use for most of the practical applications are square and rectangular. That means these rectangular and square are more popular for most of the applications which we are going to use practically. So these microstrip or patch antennas are becoming increasingly useful because they can be printed directly onto a circuit board. Right. So when you can see in the motherboard of your CPU. In the CPU there is a motherboard. So in the motherboard there are some strip lines. You can see there will be some copper lines or silver lines observed in the motherboard which are printed directly. That means these copper lines are fabricated directly onto the circuit board. Similarly, this patch antenna can also be fabricated or printed on any circuit board directly. Right? It is not a separate device. We need to have another cable to connect this by means of a transmission line to the circuit board. Right? So we can directly include or we can directly print this microstrip antenna onto the circuit board directly. So this is one of the basic advantage of the microstrip antenna. Right? So this is hence these type of microstrips antennas are widely used for aircrafts and for aeroplanes or for mobile devices, very small handling devices. Right? So this is one of the main reasons why these microstrip antennas are being used. They can be printed directly onto a circuit board. Right? So you need not carry the circuit board separately and the microstrip antenna separately. You can directly print on the circuit board or you can directly fabricate onto the circuit board. Right? So this is one of the basic advantages. Microstrip antennas becoming very widespread within the mobile phone market. So in the mobile market, we can use this microstrip antenna as a best transmitter, receiver. We can transmit the signals or receive the signals. So in most of the mobile phones, we use an omnidirectional antenna or a whip antenna or a microstrip antenna. So many mobile phones are being using currently the microstrip antenna. It may be a microstrip antenna or a patch antenna. We can also use a whip antenna, WHIP whip antenna. The other one is patch antenna. The other one is omnidirectional antenna. So these are the three different types of antennas which are currently being used in the mobile phone market. And these patch antennas are low cost, have a low profile, and are easily fabricated. So patch antennas are low cost, have a low profile, and can be easily fabricated. So we need to fabricate by the process of photolithography. So if you want to print the patch onto the circuit board, a process is required. The process we call it as a photolithography process, right? So a printed antenna is one that is fabricated using one standard technique, which is known as a photolithography technique. The most common version of a printed antenna is a microstrip antenna, which consists of a metallic patch above a ground plane. Right? The patch is made up of metallic strip, a metallic conductor or a metallic plate. A patch is nothing but it is a metallic plate above a ground plane. So it is a metallic, it is made up of a metal. The patch is made up of a metal or a metallic plate. The shape and size of patch determine the frequency of operation of the antenna and its performance. Right? So how much amount of frequency you need to give, it depends upon the shape and the size of the patch. So what must be the size of the patch and what must be the shape of the patch? Depending upon the shape and the size, you can decide what must be the frequency of operation of that antenna and its performance. So a patch is nothing but it will be having like this, it will be having some length and it will be having some width, and you are going to add some substrate for this patch here, and below this we are having some ground plane here. Right, so depending upon the value of L, depending upon the value of width of the patch, and depending upon the amount of substrate you are going to add below the patch, the frequency operation is going to change. The frequency operation depends upon the length, the width, the value of substrate, right? And what is photolithography? It is the basic process to transfer a pattern from a mask to a wafer. Right, so it is a process. It has some steps where we need to fabricate the microstrip antenna patch onto the circuit board. So we need to coat, we need to develop, and we need to expose in the form of a wafer. So first we need to take a wafer. We need to cut the wafer, and we need to coat the wafer. We need to develop the size of the shape of the wafer, and finally we need to expose the wafer. So this is these are some common steps in the process of photolithography to fabricate the microstrip antenna onto the circuit board. So if you want to print the microstrip antenna onto the circuit board, so these are the steps involved in the process of photolithography. The pattern is transferred into the wafer surface layer during a subsequent process. The pattern is transferred into the wafer's surface layer during a subsequent process. So the printed antennas are inexpensive to fabricate using modern printed circuit technology. Right? So the cost to print the patch onto the circuit board is very easy due to the current printed circuit technology. These antennas can be easily mounted on the surface of aircrafts, spacecrafts, satellites, missiles, and even on a handheld mobile devices. Right? So as these microstrip antennas are low profile antennas having less size, one of the reasons why we are using these microstrip antennas for most of the satellite applications or aircraft applications is these are low profile antennas. That means small in size and small in weight. The weight is very less, the size is very small, and we can print easily on the circuit board. That means here in the aircrafts and spacecrafts, you need not have a circuit board. You can directly print on the surface of the aircraft. This patch can be placed or mounted directly on the aircraft or the spacecraft, and also in the handheld mobile devices. And the most popular antenna, which we can see in the most of the practical applications, is It is a rectangular patch antenna. So here in the display, you can see here the basic structure of the microstrip antenna. You can see here, this is a microstrip antenna here. This is known as the patch. This is known as the patch whose length is L, and this is the width W, of the microstrip antenna. And here there is a substrate between the microstrip antenna. So this green indicates the substrate. The substrate means some dielectric material is being added to the microstrip antenna. And also below this substrate there is a ground plane. Below this substrate there is a ground plane. And the other one, to feed the microstrip antenna, there is a transmission line. This is known as a microstrip transmission line. So whenever we are designing the microstrip antenna, see that the impedance matching is taking place between the patch and the transmission line. That means the impedance of the transmission line must be matching to the impedance of the patch antenna. Right? So then only the radiation efficiency can be increased. So there is it's not mandatory that the transmission line must be exactly located at the center of the microstrip antenna. Right? It's not, there is no any rule that this microstrip transmission line has to be given as a feeding exactly at the center of the microstrip antenna. Right? So depending upon the impedance matching, you can change the location of this transmission line. So you can also give the input here also. You can also give the input here also. You can also give the input here also. So according to our requirement, according to the impedance matching, only we need to decide where this feeding of the transmission line has to be given to the patch antenna. And here overall, the radiation efficiency of this patch antenna depends upon the value of L, depends upon the value of W, and depends upon the value of epsilon r. Right? So these are the three parameters which will decide the radiation efficiency. So if you want to increase, suppose this is the top view. So from the side view, the patch antenna will appear like this. So this is the patch antenna, this is the ground plane, and this is the substrate, and this is the microstrip transmission line, and this is the patch antenna from the side view. Here, if you want to increase the radiation efficiency, so the parameters which will decide, this is the length of the patch, this is the H, and this is the width of the patch, and this is the H, the height of the substrate. Right? So if you want to increase the radiation efficiency, H must be increased slowly. That means the height of the substrate which we are going to use for the antenna, we need to increase slowly. So if H is increased, then the radiation efficiency will increase. And if you increase the H value still again and again, the radiation efficiency increases. And if you increase the radiation, if you increase the value of H to a larger value, then the radiation efficiency will stop. So there is a limitation. For adding the substrate to the patch antenna. That means always the height of the substrate must be less than 0.05 lambda. So if the value of H is greater than 0.05 lambda, then the radiation efficiency stops. So even if you increase the value of H also, the radiation will not occur. Even if you increase the value of H, that is, if you increase the value of H, if you add more amount of substrate below the patch antenna also, the radiation efficiency stop. That means there is a limitation for the patch antenna. So whether in order to increase the radiation characteristics, in order to increase the radiation efficiency. So the radiation efficiency will stop if the value of H is less than 0.05 lambda. So this is the point to be remembered while designing a patch antenna. Right? So this value is the most practical value which when we are going to design a patch antenna. So this H value also depends. It is not necessary that always H must be less than 0.05 lambda. So it depends upon what type of material you are using. Are you using the substrate called as alumina, whether you are using the substrate, epoxy substrate as a dielectric material, right? So you can also have a value which is greater than 0.05 lambda, depending upon the type of the substrate we are going to use. So, but for most of the practical applications, we are designing a patch antenna by taking a condition H must be less than 0.05 lambda. So the patch is of length L. You can see here this is known as a side view. This is the side view of the patch antenna. The patch is of length L, width W, and sitting on the top of a substrate of thickness H with permittivity epsilon R. So epsilon R is nothing but the permittivity of the dielectric material which we are using for this patch. The thickness of the ground plane is of the microstrip. It is not critically important. So typically the height H is much smaller than the wavelength of operation, but should not be much smaller than 0.025 lambda of a wavelength, or the antenna efficiency will be degraded, right? So if we need to have some optimum value of H, so that the radiation efficiency must be high and must not be very less. The radiation efficiency must be increased and also must not be very less. That means the antenna efficiency must not be degraded. In such a way, we need to design a patch antenna based upon the value of H. The patch is generally made up of a conducting material such as a copper or gold, right? The patch antenna is made up of a conducting material such as a metal or a copper or gold, and can take any possible shapes like rectangular, circular, triangular, elliptical, or some other common shape. So whatever the shape may be, but the four features are common to be remembered for designing a patch antenna. So whether you take a rectangular shape or a circular shape or a triangular shape or elliptical shape, so it must be a patch where it has to be placed under the substrate, and that substrate must be laid over the ground plane, and all these types of patches of any shapes must be given input supply by means of a transmission line. So these are the four common features of the microstrip antennas, whether the shape may be different. So the radiating patch and the feed lines are usually photo etched on the dielectric substrate. So this is two different shapes of a microstrip feeding. So here you can see here, this is a rectangular patch with microstrip feed, and this is a circular patch. You can observe here the patch is rectangular. The patch here is circular, right? So and all the other are common. The substrate is common here. And below there will be a ground plane here. And the feeding is common here, You can observe here the feeding for the rectangular patch is common with respect to the circular patch also. So we are going to use a coaxial cable for feeding. For this type of circular patch antenna. It may be of a rectangular patch antenna. So microstrip patch antennas. These microstrip patch antennas are primarily because of the fringing fields between the patch edge and the ground plane. So microstrip patch antennas radiate primarily because of the fringing fields between the patch edge and the ground plane. So for good antenna performance, a thick dielectric substrate having a low dielectric constant is desirable since it provides higher efficiency, larger bandwidth, and better radiation. However, such a configuration leads to larger antenna size. So most of the patch antennas, whether it may be of any shape, they radiate because of the fringing field between the patch edge and the ground plane. So that means, so here, what is the meaning of the fringing field? What is the meaning of the fringing effect? So here, whenever you give some supply here for this patch, so here, what is happening here is, whenever you give some supply here, the radiation will occur only in this direction. The radiation will occur only along this direction. There is no radiation along the length of the patch. There is no radiation. The radiation is going to occur only along this direction and along the width only for this patch. So if we give supply here, the radiation will go in this direction. The radiation will go in this direction. So the fringing fields or the fields are generating along the width of the patch antenna only. The fields produced, here you can see here in this diagram, if you see carefully, here there are, when you give the supply to this patch antenna, the fields, the electric fields are going towards the substrate in this direction. And also after here, you can observe here, the fringing fields will be like this. So like this, the fields are produced, the electric field is produced from the patch antenna. You can observe here, some amount of electric field is going directly into the substrate. It is not radiating into the free space. Till this portion, you can see here, you can write it as A and this write as B. So between A and B, you can observe that the electric field is going directly into the substrate. And this electric field after B, it is some fractional part is going into the free space. This is known as the fringing field. That means the fractional part where the field is entering into the free space, we call it as the fringing field or the fringing effect. So this portion we call it as the fringing effect, and also this portion we call it as the fringing effect. This portion is known as the fringing effect or the fringing field. So, but our requirement is more amount of the fringing effect must be more. The fringing effect must be more. That means we need to increase the fringing effect. Why? Because if the fringing effect is more only, then only the fringing effect is more only, then only we can transmit more amount of radiation efficiency. We can transmit more amount of radiation efficiency into the free space. So in order to increase the fringing effect, the value of the fringing effect depends upon the value of H. It depends upon the value of epsilon r. It depends upon the value of epsilon r also. That means if you want to increase the fringing effect, you need to modify the value of H. You need to modify the value of H and you need to modify the value of epsilon r. So H must be optimum and the value of epsilon r must be optimum. The value of H must be optimum. That means if you increase the H, if you increase the value of H, then the fringing effect will be more. If we increase the value of H, the fringing effect will be more. Then more amount of radiation will be the more amount of radiation happens into the free space. That means more H. If you increase the value of H, the height of the substrate, then the fringing effect is more. That means more amount of radiation is entering into the free space. And at the same time, you can also change the value of epsilon r. So you can also increase the value of epsilon r, that is the dielectric substrate value, that is the permittivity of the substrate value, to increase the value of a fringing effect. So we can increase the fringing effect by increasing the value of H, by increasing the value of epsilon r, but there is some limitation in increasing the value of H and epsilon r. That means H and epsilon r must be optimum, and at the same time the fringing effect must be more. So you cannot add more amount of substrate for the patch, and you cannot increase the high value of H. You cannot increase the high value of H to increase the radiation, efficiency. So this is about the fringing effect. So microstrip patch antennas radiate primarily because of the fringing fields between the patch edge and the ground plane. So for a good antenna performance, a thick dielectric substrate having a dielectric constant less than 6 is desirable. Right? It provides higher efficiency, larger bandwidth and better radiation. So here if you take this as a patch here, if you want to increase the fringing effect, this is known as the fringing effect, and some amount of radiation is coming backwards towards the substrate here. If you want to increase the fringing effect, so this is known as the fringing effect. To increase the fringing effect, the value of dielectric substrate must be increased, must be less than 6 is desirable. Right? So however, such a configuration leads to larger antenna size. Right? If we can increase the value of H, If we increase the value of H, then the radiation efficiency increases. If you increase the value of H, the radiation efficiency increases, but at the same time, the size of the antenna increases. So there must be a optimum value of H, which will increase the radiation efficiency. At the same time, the antenna size must be less. So we should design in such a way that H must be more, radiation efficiency must be more, and the size of the antenna must be very less. So these are things to be considered while designing a microstrip antenna. So in order to design a compact microstrip patch antenna, a substrate with a dielectric constant less than 12 must be used, which results in lower efficiency and narrower bandwidth. Right. So this is for the design of compact microstrip compact patch antenna. A substrate with higher dielectric constant less than 12 must be used, which results in lower efficiency and narrower bandwidth. Hence, a compromise must be reached between the antenna dimensions and the antenna performance. So here, to achieve something, we need to sacrifice something, right? So we need to, if we increase the H, the radiation efficiency can be increased, but the size also increases. That means the antenna size also increases. So if we increase the H, the radiation efficiency of the patch antenna increases. At the same time, size antenna also increases. Right? So if we increase H, the radiation efficiency decreases, and also the size of the antenna will be decreased. Right? So we need to design in such a way that all these three must be optimum. That means we need to have a compromise between these parameters in designing the microstrip antenna. It must not reflect on the performance of the microstrip antenna. If we increase the value of H, it must not reflect on the performance of the patch antenna. Three types of electromagnetic waves are radiated. The first part is radiated into space, which is useful radiation. The second part is diffracted waves, which are reflected back into space between the patch and the ground plane, contributing to the actual power transmission. And the last part of the wave remains trapped in the dielectric substrate due to the total internal reflection in the air dielectric separation surface. And these waves are trapped in the substrate are generally undesirable. So if you take a patch, this is the configuration of the patch antenna. You can see here, this is the patch. And this is the transmission line here. And this is the epsilon R, the substrate here. So three types of electromagnetic waves are radiated. The first part is radiated into free space, which is known as the useful radiation. So here, this patch is radiating some amount of radiation, which is known as the useful radiation, which is radiated into free space. And the second part is the diffracted waves, which are reflected back into the space between the patch and the ground plane. So here, some amount of waves are reflected into the patch and the ground plane here. And the last part of the wave remains trapped in the dielectric substrate. So in the dielectric substrate itself, these are blocked by the patch. That means, you can see here, these are known as the dielectric substrate due to total reflection of the air dielectric separation surface. Right? So trapped in the dielectric substrate due to total reflection at the air dielectric separation surface. So these are generally undesirable. Why? Because the patch is completely blocking the radiations happening from the patch. Right? So, but at the edges of the patch, the radiation is happening into the free space. So these radiations, we call it as useful radiation. So for effective radiation of the microstrip antenna, the structure has to be half wavelength, that is eligible lambda by 2. In most of the practical applications, whichever we are going to use the antenna, if this is a patch, this is the length, whose length is taken as lambda by 2 length. The dielectric substrate should be sufficiently thicker and with low constant value. Right? So the epsilon value must be high value. And the height of the substrate should be limited to a fraction of wavelength. So these are the things to be remembered for effective radiation of the microstrip antenna. the length must be length equal to lambda by 2, and the substrate should be sufficiently thicker and with a low constant, and the height of the substrate length should be limited to a fraction of the wavelength. And the critical frequency of operation of the microstrip antenna is given as Fc is equal to C by 2L into root of epsilon r. Right, so Fc is equal to C by 2L into root of epsilon r. And we can also modify this expression based upon the fringing effect. So according to the concept of fringing effect, if you take this as a strip antenna, patch antenna, see here some radiation is happening here, and this is the total length. This is the length of the physical length of the patch antenna. Here the radiation is happening in this direction, like this and like this, and here this is radiation is happening. Right, so this is the value of epsilon r here. Here, this value of L, this is known as the L is known as the physical length. It is known as the physical length. As the radiation is happening up to this area, the radiation is happening. This portion we call it as from A to B. This AB, it is known as the effective length. It is known as the effective length. That means wherever the radiation is happening along the patch into the free space, that entire portion we call it as the effective length of the patch antenna. L represents the physical length of the patch antenna or the actual length of the patch antenna, and here the portion AB where the radiation is happening, it is known as the effective length. So there is an increase in the effective length of the patch, and this increase we can denote it as del L here. We can denote it as a del L. And this portion we can denote it as del L. Now what will be the effective length here? Now the effective length can be written as L plus del L plus del L. L plus del L plus del L, which is equal to L plus 2 del L. L plus 2 del L. That means the frequency of operation, this is the generalized expression for a microstrip antenna. This is the general expression for the critical frequency or center frequency. Fc is equal to C by 2L into root of epsilon r. And this can be modified as L effective. So L can be replaced as L effective, where L effective is nothing but the effective length of the antenna. It is given as L plus 2 del L. And moreover, this value, epsilon r value, can also be written as epsilon r effective. Epsilon r effective. Why? Because here you can observe here the radiations are happening into the substrate and also into the free space. That means the epsilon value of the free space has to be considered in the value of this center frequency of operation. Right? So here you can observe here the radiations are happening, the radiations are going into the substrate and also going into the free space. So we need to consider the dielectric substrate value, at the same time the dielectric value of the air. The dielectric value of the air and the combination of dielectric value of the air and the dielectric value of the substrate we need to consider. So the combination of these two we write simply as epsilon r effective. The combination of these two, this is here there is air, this epsilon of air also must be considered here. Epsilon of air must be considered here. So epsilon air plus epsilon r of the substrate total will get the effective value of the dielectric substrate, which we commonly indicate as epsilon r effective. Epsilon r effective, and this is L effective. Right? So these are the things to be modified in this general expression of Fc. In this general expression of Fc. So where C is equal to 1 by, we can write the C as 1 by root of epsilon naught and mu naught. So we can also modify this general expression as 1 by 2L into root of epsilon naught and epsilon r into mu naught. So this is the general expression without fringing effect. So we did not modify the values of L effective. We did not modify the value of epsilon r also. This is only the general expression to find out the frequency of operation of the patch antenna without fringing effect. So if we consider the fringing effect into consideration, then the value of Fc will be modified as L effective, and this epsilon r effective we can modify. So epsilon r effective is nothing but the combination of substrate dielectric material and epsilon of air. Epsilon of air. So this is a combination. Right. So here the L effective means the physical length, the actual length plus the radiation is happening besides the patch antenna. That length has to be considered. The total length is known as the effective length. To obtain the frequency of operation of patch antenna accurately, we should consider dimension W also. We should consider dimension W also. In the previous expression, there is no the value of W. Right. So W also will decide the frequency of operation of the patch antenna. So Fr of Nm is given by C pi 2 into root of epsilon or effective value into n by L plus 2 del L whole square plus m by W plus 2 del m whole square whole power half. Right. So here m and n are nothing but the modes of the electric fields radiated by the patch antenna. The electric fields modes, the modes of the electric fields produced by the patch antenna. The radiation pattern of microstrip antenna, the expressions for electric field components in the theta direction and the pi direction are given by, so E theta represents the electric field in the elevation plane and pi the electric field in the azimuthal plane. So the electric fields, this is the elevation plane and this is the azimuthal plane. This is pi and this is theta. This is elevation plane. So in this elevation plane, E theta is given by sine of kw sine theta into sine of pi by 2 divided by kw sine theta into sine pi by 2 into cos of kl by 2 sine theta cos pi into cos pi. And where k is the wave number given by 2 pi by lambda. So k is the wave number given by 2 pi by lambda, and E pi is equal to minus sine of k omega sine theta into sine pi by 2 by kw sine theta by sine pi by 2 cos of kl by 2 sine theta cos pi into sine pi. So this is how to determine the electric fields produced by the patch antenna. Thus the resultant electric field are given by E of theta comma pi is equal to square root of E theta square by pi square. The total electric field produced in both the planes of elevation and the azimuthal plane, the total resultant electric field is given by the square root of squaring of the magnitudes of the E theta plus E pi square. So E theta square plus E pi square give the resultant electric field produced by the patch antenna. So this is about the microstrip antennas. So here this microstrip antenna, let us conclude the microstrip antenna. So microstrip antenna basically it consists of a patch which is made up of copper or gold, and this patch is laid over the dielectric substrate which may be alumina or epoxy, and this dielectric substrate is laid over the ground plane. And this patch is given a transmission line for feeding, for exciting. So these are the 4 common features for any type of microstrip antenna of any shape. And if we want to increase the radiation efficiency, there are some parameters to be considered. So what are the deciding parameters? Or W, the width. We cannot change the length of the patch. So length of the patch is L is equal to lambda by 2. It is fixed. The length of the patch antenna is lambda by 2. It is fixed. The only parameters which will decide the radiation efficiency are the width of the patch and this epsilon r value, that is the height of the substrate value, and also the transmission line, so that means the impedance matching of the transmission line with respect to the impedance of the patch antenna. So these are the deciding parameters which will decide the whether to increase the radiation efficiency or decrease the radiation efficiency. And you can increase the radiation efficiency by increasing the height of the value not more than 0.05 lambda. Not more than 0.05 lambda. There is a limitation in increasing the H value. So even if you increase the H greater than 0.05 lambda also, the radiation will not occur from the patch antenna. The radiation stops. The radiation stops from the patch antenna. Right? So only the limitation is H must be less than 0.05 lambda to occur the radiation from the patch antenna. Always the radiation will occur only from the W side only. From the W side only radiation will happen, and the radiation is not happening here. And moreover, what is the fringing field? That means whenever you give some input supply to the patch, some amount of radiation is coming backwards, some amount of radiation is coming into the ground plane, and some amount of radiation is going into the free space. The fractional part of the electric field which is going into free space, we call it as a fringing effect or fringing fields. So in order to increase the fringing effect, we need to modify the value of W, H or epsilon R. So modifying these three values, you can increase the fringing effect, you can decrease the fringing effect of the patch antenna, right? So we need to design a patch antenna in such a way that the antenna size must be very less, the radiation efficiency must be more. So according to these two requirements, we need to modify the values of W, H and epsilon R. So this is about the microstrip antenna. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.